Okay, Bree. So yeah, again, thank you for coming. Really excited to have worked with you on this project for Yes We Can. So excited to talk to you right now. First thing I wanted to ask you was, can you tell me a little bit about your musical journey?
Yes. I'm from Spring Valley, New York, upstate New York. Not like cows and like goats and stuff like that, but still small town things. I started off with just really talent shows. My mother likes to say a thing when she was pregnant with me because she also sings. And she used to sing to her belly. And then I came out of the womb. I didn't speak for a while. Like, I guess I wasn't normal the way I was developing, but I was always able to hum. So she liked to say that I guess I heard her in some capacity and I could always hold the note. And from there, people encouraged me to do like talent shows. I did musicals. And once I got to college, I started taking stuff really seriously. But then even then I wasn't, because I feel like being a Black girl, your parents are like, look, you're gonna be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, you're gonna figure it out. And I was like, yeah. But at the same time, I'm sitting here working two jobs, doing an internship and like driving to the city to perform for the Apollo. And I'm like, yeah, no, but it's not my full time. I think it was probably my senior year, when the pandemic hit, actually, that I started taking it just a bit more serious. And especially just because social media is a villain, but social media is a superhero. I got to know way more people. I got to do internships and meet people like you and like just different organizations and contests and mentorship. And from there, I got like the tools and the resources I fully need to put this dream into reality, and also defining how success is for me. Like, I got to do that commercial and I was like, wow, this is cool. I would like to do this, or I would love to do more commissions and features and covers. And last night I just had like a concert and we filled up the room and I'm like, wow, this is great. I would love to do this. And just, I guess, having those mentors and encouragement and experience behind the scenes, like we was doing the marketing and hosting events and stuff and learning how that works, that really helped me take everything to a new level. So it's like a mix of figuring out what I wanted to do, figuring out my sound. Oh, and I guess mentioning the whole songwriting thing. I started off as a poet. That's why poet dreaming is a thing. And then it turned into songwriting. I always could sing. I was one, like I used to sing Whitney Houston covers and stuff like that and gospel competitions. And then my senior year of high school is when I started doing more originals. And again, like I said, didn't take it seriously, even though I won a whole contest for like a bunch of like, it was a Christian song too, mind you, just me and my guitar, no background beats or anything like I use now. And I won. I'm like, yeah, that's all right, it's whatever. So just having those mentors and friendships and encouragement and experience, it definitely elevated everything for me to where I am right now. Yeah.
Yes, you sound so influenced by just your environment and your immediate surroundings, and I think that if you would agree that that shaped you a lot as an artist.
100%. I think even just meeting you, Julie, like we wouldn't have got this done. I think, or even not, like shout out to like Alexi from Finesse Media. I remember her like first day. She was like, Brianna makes the music and she needs to do like she posts stuff. You remember that every
Yes.
meeting I have for that internship, she'd be like, Brianna, can you show your music today? And I'm like, oh, all right, okay, sure. Just for that, I feel like a lot of the time I called it humble, but I also felt like I wasn't confident in my gifts. Now, everybody loved my gift. They were like, girl, ever since the fourth grade, you could blow. And I was like, oh, thank you, thank you. But for me, I was still trying to figure out what that meant for Brianna and still working through things and my confidence. So I didn't really feel good about myself. I didn't even really want to look at videos of me singing. I just knew that I needed stuff to post so I could get more gigs. So I'd be like, send me the video. I'm just going to watch it, see if something's wrong. But now, because of community, I look for what I could be better at. And I also look for, did everybody enjoy what I did? Because I feel like when I made it less about me, it made it more about my community. Things became way more fun, just a lot. And again, that took people pouring into me and constant affirmation, reassurance, and people genuinely telling me like why they like the music. Like people could be like, it sounds good, but I love when people tell me like, wow, like I really resonate with that. That makes me feel like, okay, I'm doing something. Like if you could go home, and I remember I had a set where I was just me and my guitar and the song was called Denver and nobody knew it. I haven't released it, maybe we will. And one of my friends, she was like, I want to put that in the set for next time. It's really like if you did something intimate. And I was like, dang, really? All right. It's like a hit or miss. And then this one lady walks up to me. She goes, I've been in that exact situation. Like, thank you for singing that. I kind of needed to hear that because I felt really alone. And I thank you for seeing me. That was community. That wasn't me. like all of it, all of it, from everything, even just music taste. Like I love suggestions from people. You know that. I love hearing from people. I love, even it's funny, people will be like, oh my God, I hate open mics. I love it. You get to see the kookiest things. You get to see people perform differently. And like I said, I'd be nothing without community, whether it's mentors or just other musicians or people I got to intern with, because y'all have taught me so much behind the scenes. It is so much work. Like, thank you, Julie, for you just being you. So yeah, long explanation, but yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. A couple things you said really, really stuck out to me. For one, I think you are a super relatable artist. Every time I hear a song of yours, I can think back to a time, I can recall a memory where I felt that exact same way. Could be like a little bit of Black girl magic, but I think it's relatable to, like, all women, and we all go through these similar experiences. So definitely hear you there. And then something else that super checked out for me was your opinion on community, because you wouldn't be the Brianna Knight of today had it not been for that community, the community of artists, the community of musicians, creative designers, that all shapes us as artists and people. And, that plays into how we grow as well. Growth is super important. Growth is how we overcome some of our biggest challenges. So definitely feel you on community. It is super important, super important. And speaking on community, you mentioned collaboration a little bit. Tell me more about your thoughts on collaboration and how you are, as a partner in a song. How do you operate?
Yeah, if anything, for collaborations, it's funny. I remember last year, before So Deep, I was begging people to work with me. I was like, oh, can we work on something? Can we work on something? And because I didn't have anything out, that's why I'm always like, if there's any musicians, just put something out, just so people have something to base you off of. If it's a YouTube video, if it's snippets, just give something. And for the people who would say yes, I would always try to come with an idea ready to go. I'm a person who, whenever collaborating, I like to come up with different versions. I like to see what's going on. That's if it's original content. Like, I'm a person who'll be like, hey, like, for example, I had a friend of mine who was like, I'm writing Afrobeat stuff and I was thinking of you. I said, yeah, okay. I'm going to write you 3 hooks. You let me know what you like and you can play around with the vocal arrangements. It kind of feels like puzzle pieces that all fit together, but you can figure out how you want it. I love doing that for artists. I love coming up with lyrics already. Or also, let's say I'm working from the ground up. I was shout out to my friend Jamogi, working on a song together. He was like, yeah, I want to do something. And my first thing is I like to talk about where we're at as people. Like, if we're gonna write a really sad, depressing song, I have to talk about those things with you because I don't want to be fake. Like, if we're making music together, it's like, I'm not saying you always have to be friends with the people, but you have to be able to be transparent because you never know what things you're going to say that can come out in that song and you'd be like, wow, it's incredible. And then sometimes I'll just break out my guitar. Let's say if you can't figure out chord progressions, I'm one to just facilitate with that. And yeah, I like to start off, we could find a hook or just find the words. And lastly, I'm very much built on vibrations. Like, if that day is meant for it, it's meant for it. If that day is not meant for it, it's not meant for it. And you move forward. I think I used to be such a stickler, like with people, we used to be like, we gotta get this song out, we gotta get it today, we gotta finish it. No, sometimes you need to take time because, like I said, you have to meet people where they're at. Like, I was writing a song with a friend about just looking for love in all the wrong places. That's what it was called. And I'm not in that space. I'm in a healthy relationship. I'm not thinking about that. If I'm thinking about it, it's coming from as a person who learned it, and I'm giving you that lesson. And from that perspective, while we were writing, we wrote it the first day, and it was like, something's missing. I'm going to come back to you. I need to sit with it. And then he was like, actually, I switched up the production and this is where I'm going with it. And I was like, oh, all right, now we have something we could do. And it became writing from my perspective and how, like, it can get better. And it's weird because I needed that day to sit with myself. I think I journaled and like meditated on it because I'm like, I really want to be real. And that's how collaborations go. And then, like, for covers, like how we worked on Yes We Can, very much I let the song sit. I let it marinate as much as I can. When doing covers, it's super duper important to make sure that you're honoring the people who did the first song. Like, stay with what they did and then add your own embellishments, especially because, like, you want to honor them as much as possible. There was a tribute album, I think, to Marvin Gaye that, and I remember Lucky Day, he was on the song, and Her. And the production was very similar to what the original song was. It was the Mother, there's so many of you. I did that cover, and the production was very similar. lyrics, nothing changed. Same embellishments with a little bit of them, because I believe that's the way that covers are supposed to go. So at least within collaboration like that, very much. And again, talking about what people want, and that goes with all collaborations, whether covers or just original content, having those raw conversations about what a song means to you. That's how I figure it out. Long explanation, but yeah.
I love it. I love it. And back to what you were saying about like listening to your body and listening to your mind and what your mind is saying. And if you need to take a break, just take that break. I fully understand that. Creatives tell me that all the time. I hear it all the time. Super important that you do that, because your mental health is everything, and just your ability to create is so dependent on you being, 100% you, so you can be authentic. I love that statement. I was thinking about that since you said it. Speaking back to community and like family, are you a first generation singer? Do you have other singers in your family?
My mother is a singer. My brother is the sports kid, and my sister is, like a better word, she's the nerd. She's a super duper, like all of her neurons in her brain are activated. I got a little bit of that, and I got a little bit of the sports, but mainly I'm the singer. Yeah, my mom, she was a singer, definitely really like a church girl. So that's the other thing too. I can't get the gospel out my voice. It's gonna stay. It's not going nowhere. But 100%. Yeah, yeah. If anything, I'm like, when talking about my mother, I chased after her fully. Like, she made a lot of sacrifices in her life. She made a lot of sacrifices so that her kids, like myself, could be happy and could achieve their dreams and things they wanted to do. So it's like, I fully pushed for it. And she's the happiest in the world, because it's like, she knows that she liked to do it, and it's nice to see me doing it. So yeah.
That's lovely. That's lovely. The gospel is definitely very apparent in your voice. It comes through in those R&B tones, the melodies and everything. It's very much there. So I love that. I love the gospel background. Where would you say that you get your inspiration from? Like, tell me some maybe artists, old or new, that you look to sort of hone your sound or to get you in a place to create. Like, who do you like to listen to?
Nice. Well, as of recently, it depends. If I'm doing a lot of storytelling, people will tell you the songwriter, you need to always tell a story. But that's not the truth. Sometimes it's not a story. Sometimes it's being so poetic and descriptive with the balance of appealing to an audience that you could just make it where I love you. So deep is 5 million different ways I said I love this person. 5 million different ways, and that's just laying down. I guess you could say it's a story, but really it's just me saying in 5 million analogies how much I love that person. Whenever I'm doing stories, very, very much so, I'm looking at like Yeba. Sometimes I'll look at Billy Joel. If I'm doing like really neo soul stories, I'll look at Music Soul Child. And what's crazy is during the process, I will pull up the song lyrics from a song that I'm thinking of. I always have a reference whenever I'm writing a song. I'm like, okay, this is a story I want to tell, but I'm doing the flip perspective. Let me see what this person did. Recently, I was trying to figure out hooks. Whenever I'm figuring out choruses, one person I look at currently is Victoria Monet. She's really, really good. Whenever I'm thinking about vocal arrangements, Kehlani. It was good until it wasn't. It transformed. Like, Bad Decisions, you hear the vocal arrangements, you're like, wow, that's really different than So Deep. It's because of Kehlani. Like, that album changed my life from top to bottom. So I'll listen to her. Whenever I'm trying to figure out something that's really, really poetic, definitely Jill Scott. I'll look at lyrics and figure out what ways can I do it. Erykah Badu. And then if I'm looking for something where I'm just telling my truth, like I'm not worried about all these technicalities, like I just told you about a hook or the verse or the story, Lauryn Hill. I think that MTV, that live session that she did, 100%. I know a lot of people say like my riffs are very similar to her, because Lauryn Hill will never get old to me. I listen to Lauryn Hill any day. Timeless records, everything she does, but 100%. Yeah. So as you can see, it really depends on the vibe that it's going, because you have modern contemporary, which is like Victoria, and then we'll go into neo soul, and then we'll have like pop. Actually, if I'm working on dance records, because I'm really trying to get into that for the summertime, or like Afro beats, I'll search for those artists and just do a compare and contrast and what I could do. So yeah, it's a couple people, but major, if I could say of my sound completely, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill. And for writing, I really tried. Victoria Monet's pen is so clever. I think Vanessa Media hosted a workshop. This lady said it and it hit. She said, the best way that you could be a strong songwriter is make sure that nobody else can write it. And I was like, you know what? I like that. And Victoria Monet, too clever. No, nobody else could do it. Too clever. Just amazing. And her aesthetic as well. I really appreciate, if I could talk about aesthetics, just India Ari and Lauryn Hill and Mary J. Blige, dark-skinned Black women who came as themselves, and that was it. There was no like, I'm gonna be extra, should I do this thing? No. I'm a person who, I love glitz and glam, but I also, as you can see, I love to just be myself. Come in a nice white top, some glasses, have my hair out, and that's my afro, whatever it is, and just chill out. Those are three women that have done that till the end of time. They've been themselves. Mary J. Blige came as a tomboy, and she has her glitz, her glam, and she'll do whatever with her boots. Lauryn Hill just comes as she is. I think about those things as I'm writing, as I'm singing, and as I'm being who I am. So yeah, a lot of influences, but yes.
I love that. And while you were mentioning those artists, I was thinking about like certain cityscapes or certain like tropes of their music videos that I've loved, like, singing out in nature with your hair wrapped up, or singing walking down the New York sidewalk on the way to the train, or, that famous 90s thing where we would have our main act on the stage at a lounge just with a spotlight on them. And that's all that's happening. And it's just so captivating that like, in all of these different arenas, they have your attention, like they've captured it. And I think they are the masters of captivating an audience and just being unapologetic and Black, and just being like I love that. And I have a lot of those same influences as well. I love all of those artists so much. And that brings me to sort of the crux of what we're doing here today. We've been working together through From Old to Young, bridging the gap between the classics and the new age, and having emerging artists being the sort of vessel carrying it out. So tell me a little bit how you relate to older music, and how you got connected with From Old to Young, and what your experience has been like.
Yeah, my mama and my father, 100%. I feel like my father showed me a lot of neo soul, and then my mother came in with this gospel background and old stuff. Not even old stuff, because they both like people. For example, they love Barry White. My mama showed me like Luther Vandross, Anita Baker. And then also from just hearing my music teacher, shout out to like Mr. Perez, he would be like, look, you gonna sing this song. I'm like, really? But I wanted to sing this like new R&B tune. He's like, no, I want you to learn. And learning about Roberta Flack, like Donny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, Dionne Warwick, and even like, oh wow, Minnie Riperton, just people that defined where we're at right now, even of just sensuality, like Donna Summers, like people that just transform the sound of Aretha Franklin. And when I got older, I started understanding what they were saying. Before you're like, all right, okay, they sound good. I don't know what they're saying, but they sound great. And I think while in college, I started studying like Stevie Wonder and studying Donny Hathaway, Roberta Flack. And I was like, what made these people so legendary? Everything 100%. And enjoying it too. The stories that they had, timeless, and the feelings of all of it, whether love or heartache. Teddy Pendergrass, 100%. My dad used to make fun of him with the close the door because he sounds so aggressive. And even then, just always having memories with my family, just listening to oldies. There's one song where this lady, she's talking to I think the person that her husband is cheating with. She's like, look, I don't want you to call here no more. And it's like a minute intro of her giving this whole conversation. And from there, to me, it just, as soon as I realized those things, everything became parallels of what we currently have now, whether it's the long intros, the storytelling, the chord progressions, the delivery. Wow. And I think bridging it to now, like I said, everybody has a reference. I don't care what anybody says about being 100% original. I promise you, I've heard a song just like that. And I promise you, somebody had the same situation about 70 years ago, about 50 years ago, because it's all like just a nice circle. And it's nice to see those sounds recycled, especially now. I feel like people are yearning for like live music, but not live within a sense of venues, more of like the record sounds live. People are fiending for that. You could tell that there were 10 instruments in the studio. Although I do love production, because as you know, I'm a producer. I love to mess with stuff that's already pre-programmed. People are fiending for session musicians. I think a wonderful example of that was Gonna Love Me by Tiana Taylor. That record was already a sample, but people love that because it gave you something raw. It gave you something that felt like I could go see that live and it can sound exactly like the record, which was beautiful. But that's just one example of people just bridging the gap 100%. And for me, like I said, I have fond memories just with oldies. I know a lot of people, I feel like Black people give each other trauma when we try to wake up our children with the oldies. We need to stop doing that. We got to stop doing that. It ruins it. There's a lot of people who are like, I listened to the Barry White album from 73 and I hated it because I had to hear it every morning when cleaning. No, I think then we got to be more gentle to each other. Like the way I have lasting memories and like just whether it was around my family, around my friends, it's possible. So that's my thing of just bridging the old with the new and how you can see it and everything. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I totally relate. The cleaning on Saturday morning, Sunday morning. Uh, yeah, that is a memory that will stay with me.
Mm.
I just love it. I just love it. Okay, so let's talk more about the track that we've been working on. Yes, We Can, originally by the Pointer Sisters. Tell me your feelings for the song. What does it mean to you? Have you previously, been a fan of the Pointer Sisters? What are your thoughts?
I didn't know the Pointer Sisters until we started working, but I was like, I should at this point while listening. I think the song for me is just very encouraging. It's funny how things come full circle. It's like the Marvin Gaye album, What's Going On. Unfortunately, fortunately, like things haven't changed, but also the message remains the same. And I really love how the Pointer Sisters, especially with the chorus, because it brings it home. Love the way they put it. Like, yes, we can. Like, it's possible for us to actually work together. Sometimes, especially within our current society, we can divide ourselves. Sometimes it's worth acknowledging privileges. It's worth acknowledging differences, but also we can come together with similarities and commonalities, which is the main goal of literally trying to fix poverty, climate change, like colorism, racism, sexism, all these different things. Like we can all come together no matter what, and we can work on that. Like we don't have to look the same in order for us to get together. And I like how they point that out, especially emphasizing for the youth. If there is nobody else to think about, it's for the younger people who are coming after us and who are here already. The babies that we see in the strollers, every time we're arguing with one another, we have to think of them. And again, we can acknowledge differences. There's no problem with acknowledgement. There's no problem with taking the elephant out the room, like this person is more privileged than so-and-so. It's fine. But we also have work to do. Like, and I believe that song 100% brought that home. And the sound is beautiful. Like I said, you can already tell the gospel vocals that I have. So it was nice to hear that. I feel like the 70s just does that as well. They have a lot of gospel vocalists and the songs just bang. And the production as well. I miss 1 minute intros. I know people get mad, but I do. I miss them fully because it truly was just the instruments and beautiful, beautiful embellishments, beautiful vocal arrangements. That record is crazy. It was a good record. Yeah.
Agreed. Totally agreed. Now that we've talked about sort of the old, let's get into the new. Let's talk about Bad Decisions. Tell me how that came about. That is one of my, my most like listened to track. I have like a bunch of different playlists. That one's always on top. Love that song. Can't wait for the next thing. Tell me about it.
Bad Decisions. I remember, so right after So D dropped, I didn't have a follow-up because I definitely was surprised that it got that much attention. I was like, oh wow, I was just joking. And I think it was later in the year after I moved into my apartment and I was getting everything together, I was just going through poems that I had. And I had a poem from like 2018, 2017, when I wasn't with my current partner and I was just casually dating people trying to figure out. And I wrote about just how my feelings were hurt from somebody. And it just felt like I caught feelings they didn't. They told me last minute they did. And I was like, I don't even feel for you anymore. And we were caught just in this cycle of like, dang, it's never good timing, but I always feel something for you. I always want to do something for you, even when I know it's not the best for me. And when reading that poem, I tried to turn it into a song. There's the other song, which probably will never see the light of day, but it was the first Bad Decisions. I said, I don't like it. And I kept the 2 lines. You make me do bad decisions. I think you got a power over me. And the first song, the chorus is too long. I was like, I don't really like it. And then I heard the beat and for Bad Decisions, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I always scroll through beat stars for different stuff. And whenever I like a beat, if I don't write the song that day, I'm gonna save it because I'm gonna come back to it. And it's also nice to know that people that purchased the beat. I love the real beats and stuff. It's good. And I had saved that beat for months. And then I finally was like, I think I have the words. I figured it out. So I transformed this poem, this other song, morphing it together into what came Bad Decisions from. And it's crazy because, like I said, I have to think about where I'm coming from as a person. Like, I'm in a healthy relationship versus that moment. It was a weird in between. It was still figuring out. And I tried to make sure that the song showed that. Because much as people are like, it sounds like a toxic relationship, not necessarily. When I'm talking about what I went through, it was bad timing. It wasn't about that person was like cheating on me or extra things like that. It was just about how I impulsively wanted to be with them. Like, if they told me to give them $1 million, I would have. Like, if they told me whatever, I was going to do it just because I was so attracted to them and I felt such a strong connection. And I felt like I wanted the song to show that person being in between. Like, sometimes there's no conclusion for it. Sometimes you're just left on that note of, you make me want to do something. Doesn't mean I'm gonna do it. Because in the song, I never said if I was doing it. I just said, you make me want to do it. And sometimes it's life. We don't get to have a conclusion. We just have to keep on going. And there's no question. Because in the song, yeah, in the beginning, but towards the end, there was no more questions. I didn't have any more like, wow, I wonder if we can make it work. No, it's kind of like you're getting over the fact that you just want to do something, but you're like, gosh, I still want to do it, but I'm not. Very much, it's for people who feel the in between, for people who, it's about to be hot girl summer. So it's for everybody, everybody for their flings, everybody, everybody with their flings, everybody with their quick stuff they're doing casual. It's for the girls who have a hard time letting go. It's for the people that have a hard time just like trying to get over people. And it's for the people who know, they acknowledge it's time to move forward. Yeah, that's how Bad Decisions came about. And it was a beautiful track. I loved recording it. I loved writing it. And I loved the vocal arrangements, clean cut and everything. Just nice, wonderful all around.
Yes, it's so amazing. Can't praise you enough for that. Really looking forward to the next thing, which brings me to, this is shameless plug time. So I want to know what's next for you. Tell me your future plans. Do you have any upcoming gigs? What are your future goals? Tell me what's next.
Yeah, so Friday, I actually have a gig in Brooklyn. I think it starts at 7:30. It's at Stratosphere. It's on Utica Ave. It's a costume party, so it's gonna be really fun. I have a full 35-minute set. We'll see if we reach the 30 minutes or over, because I talk a lot. Then we're also supposed to be July 19th at Sobs, which is gonna be amazing. I have a 15-minute set there, which will go from they have 7:30, I think it's all the way till 12 a.m. You can come when you want. That's up to you. And then for music, first off, Yes We Can coming out literally 3 days. And then the Bad Decisions acoustic is supposed to be coming out at the end of this month. And next month, you shall be catching a new track called Silly, which is dedicated to the girlies who are still trying to figure it out. But just know you got to let that man go. You got to let him go. You got to get it together. So silly. I feel like you can already tell from the title what it's about to be. Silly. And then hopefully I'm dropping an Afro Beats tape in late July. So yeah, we got Bad Decisions acoustic dropping June 30th, and Yes We Can on the 10th. And in July we have a show. This Friday we have a show. Yeah. If anything, if you get lost in the updates, just check out the socials, honestly. And for long-term goals, Julie, I'm trying to sell out these venues. Last night on a Monday night was crazy to see 20 plus people coming to come see me. That was probably my jaw drop. And I was like, oh, so we could do this on a Monday? Imagine me finding a venue on a Friday. Oh, we could fill up the place. We could fill it up with people that look like us 100% and just want to vibe out 100, just me and a guitar. Goodness gracious, yes. That's really the long-term goal, is to be able to do a mini tour or a long tour and give y'all an album, because I feel like y'all deserve it. I disappeared from y'all after So Deep. And then I brought y'all into something. We're doing the shows, we're getting back. But for people who've been here, like you, like Kyle, everybody, Finesse Media, people who've been here to see it, now I owe y'all an album and it's coming. Like, I promise you. Next year is coming. For now, you're getting these small tapes, these small singles, but you're getting a full project full next year, 100%. Yeah.
The people are finally getting what they want. I'm here for it. I'm so happy for you. Yeah, I see big things for you. I'm so proud to call myself your friend and your colleague. And I'm so excited for what you're bringing to the future, not only to music, but just in general. You have great energy. Your positivity just, emanates from you. And I love it. And I'm so, so grateful that we could talk today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for doing this and everything. But I feel like I tell you that every other day, but I'm so happy for you, proud of you for doing it and sticking it through, because I could see you smiling and gleaming and you're doing it. For the moment we met during the internship, I was like, the Black girl's got to open the doors. So 100%, I'm proud of you, and thank you for even thinking of me and considering me for this. This project has been so much fun. We still have to work on the music video too, so we're not even done. That's gonna be another ball of fun. That's gonna be great. But I've had a ball working with you and a ball doing this interview, and you're doing amazing, and you're a wonderful interviewer, by the way. Really, really good. Really good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so excited for, the end result of this, just the effort that we put into the art. I think it's going to shine, and I think everyone is going to see it and just be blown away. I'm super confident in that. So yes, thank you so much. That was pretty much it for me. I'm gonna hit